Hello, everybody in the TV land, in the interwebs. It's Laura Ward in a Zoom room with other people for role play. Welcome. Yes, coming in for a landing. I'm just waiting for one person to get their mat to come in for their landing. So maybe in this first moment of arrival in our bodies, we can just take a second to do a body scan. Which I'm not going to cue. I'm just going to let you guys close your eyes, tune in. And I am going to invite that in your body scan, instead of a still body scan that you might do, let yourself move a little bit. So finding this sort of internal flow of energy, if there is one, of movement. You can be seated, you could be standing, you could be laying down, any way that feels good to you, but just doing a little micro movement body scan. Eyes closed or open. It's much easier for me to sense into my body when my eyes are closed, although sometimes I like to open and closed as I'm doing it. So just coming in to feel what you're feeling. And also what I notice is as soon as I start to tune in, nothing stays the way that I sense it immediately. Like as soon as I start to tune, there's a sense of shifting and adjusting and fluidity that then my awareness starts to dance between different locations in my body or different things. But the invitation is to really bring the awareness into physical sensation, into your body, into what it feels like to be a human. I believe that we are mostly human today. That was the report, still human. Although I wonder about my alien ancestors, how they feel about that. So yes, that brings me into a sense of lightness and a sense of humor in my own body. So I want to just invite that idea into role play today, that invite in a sense of humor into your body, a sense of humor into your experience. Allow yourself to be weird, allow yourself to be playful, give yourself freedom and permission to explore in ways that might not be your normal adult ways of exploring, but maybe creative, childish ways of exploring what it is to be in your body. And we'll just keep working with the maybe micro starting to move into macro movement. When I talk about micro movement, it could be just small little fluid adjustments, but it can also be happening on this level. Like there's one level of micro movement happening and there's another level of macro movement happening, big whole body movement or small little adjusting body movements. In movement analysis, we call these sort of little internal adjustments shape flow. So thinking of the internal shapes of your body as just flowing, as having a fluid relationship. We could think of the systems of the body even having a fluid relationship, so that the circulatory system has a fluid relationship with the respiratory system, has a fluid relationship with the hormonal, like adrenals, all these things having this relationship where there's a sense of flow. And along those lines, there are these relationships, like our lymph is working in very close relationship with our nerves and our venous flow. So coming in, let's do the lymph release. So this is a very specific thing that I learned from Dr. Perry Nicholson. You're going to take the right hand, cross it over. I'm going above my collarbone in here, and I'm kind of using my fingers to grab. I'm not sliding across the surface of my skin. I'm kind of grabbing the skin and moving the skin. So we're moving in towards this lymph flush. Speaking of the systems, the fluid systems of the body. And there's a big lymph under here. And the biggest, like the left side of our body does more to recycle the lymph fluid to, I want to say digest, but really to work through that. The right side also does, but not quite as much. So coming to the right, same thing, little easy circles. It's kind of like you're grabbing the superficial fascia, your skin, and then the superficial fascia under that. And then we're hoping that within that system, we've got that lymph area and we're removing it. And as I do this, I start to become very aware of my jaw, my neck, my throat. So I like to move and relax my jaw and neck and throat a little bit as I'm doing it. You could also like do a sound. Yeah. Letting go, just coming in, because that sound vibration is going to add the vagus nerve coming into more of a rest and digest, soothe and settle. Then going behind the angle of your jaw. So angle of your jaw, and you're just gonna, I'm gonna dig in here a little bit more. And I'm also gonna move my jaw. So this lymphatic flush I learned from Dr. Perry Nicholson, and it's really important to always start around here because everything's going to come back through that area. And if that's not clean, things get more blocked up. So starting around the collarbones, just above the collarbones, then moving up or moving down. In this case, we're moving up first and then we're moving down. Next place is going to be sort of armpit pec. And as I do this, I like to move a little bit. Again, it's like balance of micro and macro movement happening. But I'm working again to find that deep underlying shape flow fluid support for my body. So the idea of shape flow is there's all of these systems working together. So your core support, your breath support, organs, everything is happy. In a perfect world, it's all happy. Switch it to the other side, same thing, letting it move. Again, big lymph area here. And there's really five or six main sort of areas that we're working through today, actually 6. So that pec, armpit, deltoid a little bit in there. And then we can just shake that out for a second. So after I've done the top part, I usually, my arms get kind of tired. So I just want to liven them up and also encourage the movement of that lymph. Next place. This is between your xiphoid process and your belly button. So sort of there in the middle, here's my belly button, xiphoid process. I'm going right in the middle of that. And again, I'm kind of digging in and circling. So, but as I dig in and circle, I'm moving all of that fascia, all of that skin. And this one feels really gross to me. Like this is the most unpleasant one. Yeah, hello in there, lots of stuff. So don't go to a position, you don't want to, when working on yourself, it's nice to not like don't make it painful. Just go with what feels like you can handle that today. Shake that out, let that go. We're going to go to one more place in our torso, and that is above the inguinal fold, right in here, between my ASIS and my pubic bone, sort of right in the middle there. Just rubbing in. And also, as I'm doing this, I'm tuning to what is my body's response to that. Like, does it make me want to grab? Can I release into it? How does my belly, gut area feel when I start to work here in the groin? I begin to notice the tension patterns that I am holding in my belly as I move that. All right, so last place here is going to be behind the knees. I'm standing up to do it. You could do this seated. You could stay seated down, but I feel like it's easier up here. So I'm going right behind the fold of the knee, right in there. And I'm kind of digging in with my tips of my fingers, moving it around. And then you can let that go. The cat is involved. Ooh, he's showing us his good stretch and laziness. And then you're going to shake everything out. So shaking again, deep diaphragmatic movement, deep diaphragmatic breathing movement is going to stimulate that lymph and get it to move through your body. So it's moving through under like a pressure pattern. And once we start to shift that around, it's like we create a vacuum for it to come through. And I've been finding that doing this lymph work before going into the more like internal somatic stuff is really a nice entrance. And lymph is a detoxifier of your body. So along with our skin, our sweat, our digestive system and elimination system, and then of course breathing, we actually detox through our breath. So just thinking along that, we're going to do one more thing here. You're going to just kind of grab underneath. So here's my ribs. I'm just going to kind of dig in and pull. This is actually, I learned this in connective tissue therapy, which is was taught at the Laban through one of the Laban, a movement analyst in the 90s. So I'm kind of grabbing with my fingers and then pulling along. And I've actually got this vegetable glycerin moisturizer on, and it makes my body really sticky. So it's easy to just grab. So we're kind of separating the liver and what do we have up there? Pancreas, spleen, things like that, just giving them more space. And also thinking that they're not going to be pulling up into our rib cage and lungs, but they can sort of drop down, letting that go, shake it out. So there's this idea of directionality within the body that we have, you know, this kind of old school idea of like, pull up, pull in, get tall. And then there's also the like ground yourself, take it down, push down, bear down. Like if you want to have a baby, it's not going to come out when you're pulling up. It's going to come out with the bearing down. And I feel like in many cultures, there's like a definite cultural choice if our body should be here or if it should be there. And so we want to kind of de-interlace that cultural pattern and give our body some animal choice. What feels good? What does it need right now? Pushing down, pulling up, or a mixture, or moving around in between the two. So with that idea of moving around in between the two, let's just free up the diaphragm. And that can be any kind of movement. So the diaphragm is like this umbrella that's kind of on an incline through your body. It's not like this, it's kind of like that. So letting that free up above your organs. Yeah. Well, sideways, because like as the ribs go like that, it's also kind of like that inside. Yeah. I know, I always thought of it as being like this perfect rounded thing, and it's not really. Yeah. All right, so circling, mobilizing, letting that move through you. And as you're mobilizing above your diaphragm, all the guts and organs underneath are also getting some freedom. So actually, here's the cat. There's that, you know, cats scrabble with their paws, that reaching that they do. Think of that kind of internal movement with the organs as scrabbling internally. I have drank a cup of coffee and I'm very excited. So I want to now take us down onto the floor. If you want to go from all fours, you can do that. You can be on your back, you could be seated, any way that feels good to you. And I'm going to add music. And I'm just going to let us move through. I probably will talk every once in a while, but let your body move in ways that feel good to you. So it's like we've just done a whole bunch of guts, organ stuff, a bunch of fluid system stuff. Let's soften that and let your body take it on and in any way that feels good. And I'm playing ambient fields. This is a friend of mine, Jeff Gersh. He does all this great guitar music, which is really wonderful for somatics. Yeah, so taking in, finding your own internal spaciousness. Letting yourself dance with your fluids, dance with your organs in any way that feels good. This could be all fours, could be seated. Can you hear me? Is it good volume level? Inviting in your own body wisdom, your own sort of inner guide, inner healer. And even as I say those words, I just feel an intense amount of gratitude. So tuning into that inner wisdom that's coming from a really deep space of love. And as I say that, it also really slows me down. If you want to add any kind of sound to your movement, like an ooh or a ha or an oh, feel free to try experimenting with that. And just feeling how the inner vibration changes your sensation and awareness. Allowing yourself to kind of curl in or unfold and curl out. It could happen in tiny little places or in big places, sort of folding and unfolding, wrapping in, unwrapping, and expanding. Just playing with the spaciousness of your own internal body. But you can also play with the spaciousness around you, or the negative space between you and the floor or the parts of things. Taking anything that I say with a grain of salt. If it's working for you, stick with it. If it's not, just let it go. Let it pass by like a cloud. So in continuum work, there's an idea of tissue prep, that like you're prepping the tissue for whatever it is you're going to do. So thinking of this dance that you're doing with yourself as being the sort of tissue prep for life, tissue prep for being alive, for participating in existence with everything and everyone else that's out there. Yeah, prepping on this inner sort of place so that there's spaciousness in the outer space, in the outer world with other people, or with other entities, other animals, plants, even maybe stones or trees or the sun, whatever you're interacting with. Cars on the highway, even. Giving yourself some extra space. And if you have any body parts or any systems that need extra care, extra love, just tune into them for a few breaths, if that feels of value. Sometimes when you have a pain somewhere, it's really easy to focus on it all the time. So maybe the need is to focus away from it a little bit, give it some freedom to do its own thing, allowing yourself to tune into what's interesting, what's playful, what's pleasurable in your movement or in your system. trying to allow the flow to free up enough that you're not anticipating the next thing or planning for it. Just let it arise. Let it surprise you. It could be very different than what you thought would happen. Bringing awareness to all of that sensation. So many like neural patterns are happening. Neuroplasticity as we awaken connections to body parts or to movement, things that we haven't been thinking about. Oh yeah, some more love on words like spreading, advancing, folding, retreating, sinking, growing. Oh, I see the cat's about to jump up on the... he just jumped up on the chair to move the whole computer. So we're coming to the end of this half hour, which just ends so quickly. Let yourself come into maybe stillness for a couple of breaths. If you're really happy moving, go for it. Relative stillness. We are movement. Thinking in sort of non-dual terms, finding the stillness in the movement. Or finding the movement in the stillness. Pause the recording. Well, if you have made it all the way through that, bravo, yay. I just want to show you what happened with the camera. The camera or the computer was sitting on that chair until Lord Gaylord took it over. And also, if you have been enjoying this stuff, please feel free to like and subscribe. I also have a Venmo, Laura Ward-30, if you feel inspired to donate to help pay for me to continue to do this without having to get a real job. Also PayPal, it is octaviacup@yahoo.com. And I also have a Zelly, which is, I'm not gonna say that one on here, but it's all available. You can reach out to me if you feel like donating. That would be much appreciated. If you're just taking, then please like and subscribe and have a wonderful day. Love your animal body.